Hello, everyone. Today is Tuesday, June 3rd.
I'm Bruce Turner in Lynchburg, Virginia.
I'm Jeff Zayas in Napa, California.
And I'm Robert Taylor in New Orleans, Louisiana.
All right, I'm Duke Carrico. Welcome, everyone, to episode 59 of Tech and Coffee's Android Journal. Hey, guys, tonight we're going to cover an Asus machine that tries to do it all. The HTC One is now available in plastic. HP's got a tablet for less than $100. Hey, all of this, a lot more, and our apps. Welcome, everyone. Glad to have everyone join us. Before we get to all of that, though, this is our first episode back since our Tech and Coffee Pigeon Forge, Tennessee hurl. Bruce, I got to meet you again. Robert, I got to meet you again. And Jeff, I didn't get to meet you, and I'm probably better for it. But yeah, we had a very, very good time. Absolutely there. We got a lot of Tech and Coffee swag there. And Robert, I just wanted to say publicly that absolutely. I just wanted to say publicly that, you know, a lot of the planning for this event fell to you and your wife, Lisa. And thank you very much. Speaking only for myself and no one else, I had a friggin' ball, okay? It was just an awesome, awesome time.
I think everybody had a ball. We had a blast. Whole host of activities were going on and a lot of fun and just carrying on unbelievably. We won't mention the thong contest. I know that you're still upset.
I'll still say it was rigged.
Yeah, that was kind of fun. But we really did. We had a very, very good time. And hopefully Jeff, we won't have to block him for the entire year. Maybe, you know, on the next one, Jeff will get to join us.
I hope so. If scheduling works out, you know, I'd love to, you know, wear a thong with you guys.
Oh yeah.
Listen, it was absolutely off the chart, off the chain, amazing. I tell you, I really missed it. I mean, I wish it could have gone on longer. I actually felt a little down, you know, coming back home again. Of course, I love my home, love where I live, and certainly love my wife and grandkids and so forth. But it was that good a time that I just wish it could have gone longer, and I really can't wait for the next one for sure.
So Duke, is that Duke in a can I saw you reach for?
Yeah, one thing that didn't get shown there while we were talking about there is my can of Dookies, and Robert, just got to say, this stuff works great. Yeah, man. All right, hey guys. Let's get on with the show. The first thing here that's up is Asus has unveiled a new machine here that is it's one of those machines. It tries to be everything. First of all, it's a Windows laptop. The monitor can disconnect from the screen to make it a Windows tablet. But it also comes with a Windows Phone, and if you insert it in the back, it will utilize an Android tablet, or you can hook the phone into the monitor and the monitor into the keyboard, and you've got an Android laptop. Now, this is the ultimate hybrid, in my opinion. I mean, come on, man, we can go ahead and drop Linux on it too, and I mean, it can be a complete machine. Hey, Robert, I'm going to let you jump in here first. Would you be in or out in such a device?
You know, I don't know. I mean, this is this is so far-reaching. It does so many things. I don't know whether I'm in, out, somewhere in the middle. I don't know what I'm running. Am I running Windows? Am I on a tablet? Do I have a laptop? You know, it's crazy. The specs on this thing seem pretty interesting. I mean, 4 gigabytes of RAM, 128 gigs of flash storage, and 1 terabyte hard drive. I mean, it's got everything.
Yeah.
What scares me a little bit is, can it do everything well? You know, can it really make it as seamless as what this article purports it to be? So I don't know if I'd be in, but I'd be damn curious. I really would.
All right, yeah. Jeff?
Just a little correction. It uses a Android phone. It's not a Windows phone. So that's how it runs the Android operating system on the display, which I think is a
Windows phone.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm in an Android phone. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, and I, personally, I think it's very interesting. And this is a kind of like a derivation from when they offered the pad phone, which was kind of like the same thing, where they had the tablet experience where you had a phone in the back, and it wasn't really offered here. It was offered in overseas or whatever. And I think they just kicked it up a notch and said, hey, let's bridge the gap. And from what I read on the article, you can run both at the same time. You could actually run the Android app or the Android operating system in a window under Windows in the tablet form. Or you could have it, so you can have different combinations of things.
Which would make it very cool, like if you're using the Hangouts text messaging app, so forth, etc. I mean, you don't reach for your phone or anything. You're just right from your Windows desktop. You're using your Android's Hangout app. That would be very cool.
And here's kind of also, you don't have to worry about any kind of tethering app, right? You don't have to tether. All it's really doing is using it as an external monitor. So you have all those things as well. So I find it very interesting if it's priced competitively with a netbook kind of thing. It would be kind of interesting to check it out. I think it has a lot of promise, more promise than that. When you first look at it. So even if it doesn't do everything well, it doesn't have to. It could just do everything, decently, enough that you have all those experiences as well, and I would look at it. I would definitely look at it.
Bruce.
All right, here we go.
Oh.
James 1:8, going to get a little preachy here. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways. Somebody said one time, anything with two heads is a monster. Oh, maybe if you suffer with multiple personality disorder, you could work this.
Mm-hmm. So are you taking Linux off your Chromebook?
I just finished watching an episode of Criminal Minds. This thing's got more twists and turns in it than a Criminal Minds episode. Insanity is kind of what I look at here. I mean, to me, it's interesting because we're geeks and it's tech and somebody can pull this off. I guarantee you they're not going to be able to price this thing low enough to make it really popular. If you're going to, if you want to. HP's come out with an Android laptop. Maybe we're talking about that later. I mean, you got the Surface, and the new Surface is all pimped out. And look what they're charging for that. I don't see how they can make this thing of a reasonable price. And I'm really happy right now with my Chromebook and my Galaxy Note 2, and don't see any compelling reason to want to do anything different at this point.
Now, I want to harken back to the idea. Do you have Linux on your Chromebook, Mr. Dual Head Forked Tongue Man?
The answer to that question currently is no.
Oh, currently.
That's correct.
Actually, when you asked him the question the first time, he hit the power wash button.
No, I really don't. And there's one of the reasons why I did that is because I thought I was going to need Skype to communicate with when I'm out there with just my Chromebook. But you know what? What's interesting now on Outlook.com on the Chromebook, you can now access your Skype as far as chat. You can't do video yet, but I think that's going to come. So, no, I'm just real happy with the Chromebook as it is. But anyway, it's interesting. It's compelling, but it's not going to be cheap. Or what I would consider affordable, and I don't know, it's just kind of weird.
What would the price point be for you?
One thing that jumps out at me about this is a 12.5-inch screen. I mean, what kind of that doesn't seem right to me. I mean, I'm too using to seeing 17.1-inch screens, 15.6, 15.1, 11.6, 13-inch. 12.5 just seems like a weird size display to me. But I will have to say this intrigues me. But, I too, Bruce, wondered about price.
They can't do it. They can't do it for less than $1,000. I'll guarantee you.
Oh, I would take that bet.
Well, hey, listen. You've got a fairly high-end Android phone, okay? And if it's going to be a tablet, it's got to include touchscreen, be it Windows or Android. Just those two things alone are going to add considerably to the price.
But do you think it's going to include the phone, or you can get the phone separately?
Oh, I think it's not going to work without this specific Asus Android phone that's going to be able to dock in the back of it. And just let me say this, guys, real quick. Asus unveiled something similar to this, not to this extent, but they did unveil at CES a Windows laptop that would double as an Android tablet, and it got terrible reviews. And I think the problem, this is my opinion with this, do I think it's a good idea? Yes, but I think it's all in the proper implementation, and that's been my argument thus far with wearables. I think wearables are a good idea, but I've seen nothing yet on the wearable side of things that I think really adds or does something different than what my smartphone doesn't already do. It might add convenience, but it really doesn't add functionality.
And how can there be a really defined audience for this? I mean, think about how narrow the audience is going to be for this. That's why it's not going to be cheap. It's going to be a high-priced, niche market. So
I think you're looking at right at about $1,000. Mm-hmm. It's got an Intel Next Gen, the 128 gigs of flash storage, the hard drive.
Well, I wasn't thinking the phone was included. So if the phone is included. If
the phone is included, I think Bruce is like way correct. You're looking at $1,300 to $1,500 if it includes the phone. If it doesn't include the phone, if the phone is sold separately, I'm betting this is going to come in at between $800 and $900 for this unit. That's my guess, just reading the specs and kind of seeing. But again, it's interesting that we're seeing now Android being considered as an option for a laptop-like device. Even if it is being brought in, ancillary, it's still as an option to Windows 8.1, to run as. So it's going to be something that we've got to see it in real life. Lots of people can say it's coming, it's going to do this, it's going to do that. Until we actually see it in the wild and see if it's going to be a flop like the last tablet that had the phone attachment to it, then we'll know.
By the way, Jeff, I think the pad phone is currently available now on AT&T.
Oh.
I think you can walk into an AT&T store and buy that phone tablet combination. Okay. All right, guys. Hey, listen. Let's keep our eye on this one because I think this thing sounds interesting. I mean, it's got a battery life of up to 10 hours. And here again, I don't think this is a bad idea. And if it is indeed $1,300 to $1,500. Well, if you're buying your phone outright out of contract and you're paying $400 for it, and you're paying $400 for a top-of-the-line tablet, and then you're buying a new Windows laptop, I don't think that price as a total is out of the question. I think it would hurt this guy's pocketbook to lay down for all of those things at once. But to take them individually, if you were buying those things individually, you would spend probably more than that.
I'll take the last two words of the title of this article, craziest yet.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Hey, guys, moving on. HTC, I've always been a fan of HTC phones. I thought that they've made some of the best Android hardware in the business. And, for a long time, they were plastic devices. Recently, the One and the One M8, was debuted with an aluminum chassis, a unibody construction, just a gorgeous device. But they've released details anyway of what they're calling the E8. This is a plastic M8, but this one has a 13 megapixel camera. Pricing has come out on this. Let's see here. This is something just added since I've.
It's $447.
Okay, yeah, outright $447. Okay, you know, a lot of people had a love-hate relationship with the original one mate phone, the M8 phone. I'm sorry, the M8 camera. And this one's got more of a traditional 13 megapixel camera. This thing, the way it's priced, could you think this is a better competitor to the Samsung S5, or is this just another Me Too phone?
Well, considering that the aluminum unibody construction was a very expensive component, I think we have to get in at a lower price point, so the plastic is probably, financially a right way to go. But it's like, well, if everybody else is doing plastic, we may as well too. Samsung's, the big dog in the block when it comes to, their phones, and nobody seems to complain terribly hard about their phones, The plastic seems to be a little bit more resilient than what you might think. HTC is saying, we'll come to the table at a nice low price, off-contract price, but here's the compromise we have to make. Instead of that expensive unibody, metal, unibody construction, it's going to be a plastic back. And we've got this new camera to go with it. Here you go.
Yeah, my answer to your question is yes. I think it does compete better with the Galaxy S5. I've never minded plastic. I mean, it's really interesting. This Note 2 that I have had for almost 2 years now, and carried it without a case. I mean, you can look at it. I mean, I lay the phone down on this plastic. It holds up really well. One of the nice things that I like about it is the few times that I have dropped this thing. Number one, I've not damaged it. But it kind of explodes gently. The plastic will come off, the battery fall out, pop everything back in, slap it back on. I've got no scratches. Certainly don't have any dents because it's not metal. But it's in just about as pristine condition as it was the day I got it. So yeah, and I like the red color. I mean, I've never had a red phone, but I think my answer to your question is yes, as far as it's competing better with the S5.
Well, I think it's cheaper, and guys, look at the iPhone. The iPhone, Apple finally introduced a plastic model. I think it's sold reasonably well. It hasn't been as popular as their flagship, but it's still, I think it's been a successful device, and I think this is a good idea for someone like HTC to offer this type phone. And I'm like you, Bruce. I kind of like that red with those darker, blacker outer images. I think that's sharp.
Yeah, I think Tanya would really like a red phone, don't you?
Oh yeah, Tanya Bolus, who is Tech and Coffee regular, absolutely.
Yeah.
She wants a white. She'll want a white phone to go with her trailer.
Hey guys, while we're
going camping,
hardware here, Jeff, you dropped this article in, and hey, HP is offering up a $100 Android tablet. It's called the 7 Plus. It does have a quad-core ARM processor. It's running 422 Jelly Bean, and it's just got 8 gigs of storage. If you just look over the stats on this thing, it's pretty lackluster, especially the display, which is 1024 by 600. Jeff?
But the reason why I put it in there for 2 reasons. Number one, we've been talking about how the prices of Android tablets are going to come down, and the $100 price point is pretty reasonably priced, right, for a kid or for whoever. But it's even tastier when you put in a promo code and you get like an additional $20 off, and I think it's if you put in, it's called Slick 15 HP. The whole thing is $84.99 shipped, So that is just an amazing price for, a device that's, is almost giftable. I mean, you can buy this as a nice little gift for someone, and they would be thrilled.
Well, let me ask a question, Jeff, and I understand what you're saying about the $100 price point, and I think that works for what I consider disposable hardware that I would give my 12-year-old son. I'd not have a coronary if he drops it, whatever, loses it. But how many manufacturers do you know of have really come out doing well that only offer low-end stuff like this? HP has failed in the tablet arena several times. Now they have 2 Android tablets, this one being the cheaper of the 2, right?
Yeah.
But, does it really make sense to be for HP to be playing in this very, very low-end arena?
Especially when you've got, you've got the Chinese have tablets like this all over the place. That, let's face it, a lot of them are priced around the same price point, and they offer similar specs.
Yes, but would you buy it from a Chinese company? Or would you buy it from HP?
Well, I'll tell you, Jeff, I probably wouldn't buy it. In fact, I think tablets like this really give Google a bad name.
Why would you say that?
Well,
we've been predicting on this show for a long period of time that tablet prices are going to come down.
One of my predictions was that we would see name brand tablets at $100 price point. I've made that prediction.
Yeah.
The tablets like this give Google a bad name because they are an inferior experience.
I don't know if it's an inferior experience. It's just not the same experience as what a $200
to $300 tablet.
Yeah, exactly. But for a kid, right, who's not going to care about the premium experience, and can do a hangout and do some other things, right? It's pretty reasonably priced.
Well, just let me mention this, guys. Robert and I each day try to put up a poll on Tech and Coffee's community. And one of the polls that I recently put up was, what is your most valuable in usage piece of tech? The choices that I gave the audience was desktop, laptop, tablet, and smartphone. Okay? How many votes do you think a tablet got?
Oh, I already know this.
Okay. All right. Yeah, the tablet got 0 votes. Listen, I'm serious. I think that that tablets, at least in America, have reached a saturation point.
But I'm going back to my point for a kid who you're not going to give him a smartphone, because you're not going to do that. They are 10 years old. You don't want to give them a smartphone because you're not getting a smartphone until they're 13 or something like that. A $85 HP tablet would make their day.
I see the point, and I agree with you. It's on the very low end.
Yeah.
In the extreme entry level market.
Yeah.
And a tablet like this, okay, I got it. But I guarantee 6 months after I put this in my son's hand, what is he going to say he wants? A Nexus 7. Or, God forbid, heaven help me, iPad.
Even worse, I want a phone.
Yeah.
but here's the point. People buy $25 Raspberry Pis and do crazy things with them, right? It's not like you're buying a Linux. Exactly. Here you go. You use it for a specific thing or one thing. So $84, you could have a universal remote in an HP format or whatever. So I'm
You're sticking to your guns on this one. Okay.
I'm sticking to my guns. It might not be a smart business move.
Well, you know,
but
I agree with Jeff, especially when it comes to children. I have a 6-year-old granddaughter, and my daughter has one of these Google Next. It called a Google Next. It's a tablet made by Google. It's branded with Google on the back. Bought it at Walmart, and my little 6-year-old granddaughter just eats that up. In fact, it's almost become an obsession with her. It's become a great deal. If you want to punish her, just threaten to take away the tablet, you know. But she plays all kind of games. I forget, some of them involving pets and dogs and cats and stuff like that, and it really is great for her. So I think there's a market there that Jeff talks about. You know, it's interesting, if people were thinking more soundly financially, I think a $100 tablet might draw some attention. But here's what I see. I see teenagers and young adults say, I don't want a $100 tablet. I want a $500 or $600 tablet, and they'll go in debt to get it because they want that, instead of thinking, you know, I can spend $100, save money, and you know, and buy have 5 years worth of lattes at Starbucks with the balance, you know, and still be able to do a lot of stuff I want to do. So, but for kids, yeah.
All right, fair enough. Let's move on. Once again, I'm right. You guys are wrong. No, good points all. Hey, we're still going to talk about hardware here just a little bit, but hey guys, Google has announced that it's going to put 180 satellites in space over the next 5 years for basically worldwide internet access. This is going to give a lot of countries who can't get it now the ability to get it. You know, we're all familiar with Project Loon, and that was basically offering Wi-Fi from balloons that they were going to put up into the stratosphere. And Facebook had also announced that they were going to do it with drones. And what do you think about this plan, guys? Is this a great way for Google to spend money?
Skynet
We'll start with you on this one, Jeff.
Well, you know, I'm not a big, you know, I'm going to say no. It's not a good way for them to spend money. I don't think everyone in the world needs, you know, have internet access and want to, you know, buy from the Play Store. So I personally, I'm a no on this, but I understand why they're doing it. But I would rather see them do something with, like, you know, Google Fiber in every major city here in the United States, because you are at Google, you are a United States company. You know, invest the money in U.S. fiber optics, you know, fiber network here. That's what I would say. But, you know, I understand what they're doing.
Google's worldwide, you know, and
corporate headquarters happens to be, you know, 100
down the street,
76 miles. You know, it's not 76, but 60 miles south of me. Googleplex is the force is strong down there.
Robert, what do you think, man?
Did you say what do I think?
Yeah.
Skynet starts here. That's what I started with, and this Jeff brings up an interesting point. It is, you're an American company, and while we don't want to be solely American-centric, you've got a lot of projects on the table right now that really could use some intense, you know, input, and Google Fiber being one of them. The driverless cars, that's another one that's very interesting. There's a lot of things here that Google could be putting its efforts towards that I would be more enthusiastic about. But I will say this, when comparing to Google Fiber, the future is not going to be in a connection of any type other than wireless. So if I took the very long-term approach or look at this, I can see why this makes sense. Rather than putting time and effort into Google Fiber right now, why not look towards the much longer future where a connection won't even be required?
Google's self-driving car ain't gonna drive itself on fiber, right?
You're gonna have one hell of a spool of fiber if that's going to be the case.
All right. I'll tell you what's the truth. I've been accused many times of being a Google fanboy. When I read this article, this is a good example why. I'm sorry. I think this is brilliant. I mean, bringing internet to the world. Yeah, call it Skynet if you wish, but this is the kind of stuff that appeals to me. Yeah.
Billions for trillions. It's all about the data, and the payoff for Google would be fine. That's the reason they're doing it. They don't have concern so much about bringing internet to the masses. They're concerned about getting more data. So billions for trillions would be my comment on this. And by the way, I can't wait to see a pop-up on my Chromebook that says acquiring signal, acquiring signal.
Yeah, or drone has been sighted. You are out of compliance by this. But I don't know, man. I just don't know. I mean, everyone, they always talk moonshots. This is obviously one of them. But tough.
Yeah, Dennis DeVoe's agreeing with you, Robert. He says maybe it is Skynet.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Hey, let's move into a couple of discussion articles now. First of all, Google Now. We all love it. Saw an announcement today that Nova Launcher now supports the speaking of Google Now. And, Jeff, this is another article that you dropped in the sheet. Just let me throw out a question to the group. Jeff, is Google Now starting to kill a lot of third-party apps?
I think specific apps, yes. I think if you fly a lot, if you for me, watching sports, getting scores and things like that, I don't use the score apps anymore. I just don't. I get it on Google Now. I swipe over, and there they are. There's the teams I'm following. There's the sports. There's the scores. Tells you what's innings. So a lot of the apps are being integrated into Google Now by what my searching elements are. So I stopped using these other apps. So yeah, I can see it shrinking the viability or the reasons why you go to a third-party app, because most of that stuff is coming automatically.
Robert, weigh in here.
Well, I got to agree with Jeff. Thinking about it from the way that he just described it, he has told Google, I'm interested in the Padres, the 49ers, the whatever, and his Google Now, every time there's a news story, every time there's something that's pertinent to them, all he's got to do is swipe up from the home key. Boom, there it is. No starting an app, no, configuring, no nothing, and it's all given to him right there. Are they pushing things out of the Play Store because of it? Perhaps, maybe, but I don't think that the experience Jeff gets with his sports scores, for instance, is the same as if he had the ESPN app. Maybe it will get even more or better, but if you have the separate app, you're still getting a better experience, at this moment.
Yeah, and for example, the ESPN app gives you the ability to watch ESPN TV or a live sporting event, like the basketball playoffs or whatever, which I took advantage of. But now it's making that more specific, right? I don't need to go to ESPN to see what's going on between the Giants and who's playing today, Cubs or whatever, and it shows you what inning it's on and what the score is. If I click on it, it will actually give me the play-by-play. Jeez. You
travel quite a bit. Do you use a lot of travel apps specifically, or how do you find the Google Now experience?
Yeah, first, I have TripIt, and I don't use that a whole lot. I haven't paid for the premium version of that. I've got I'm looking at these icons. I've got the Delta app. I've got the U.S. Airways app. Which, by the way, the U.S. Airways app is just horrible. It's doggy slow. It gets all kinds of bad ratings on the Google Play Store. I've got some other apps. One of the things that I'm thinking about this, Google Now can give me quick flight information about maybe gates and stuff like that, but I can't make a reservation with Google Now I can't purchase a ticket to a showing through Fandango with Google Now. I can find out when it's playing, but I can't make the purchase.
But eventually you'll just click on that and you will be able to.
See, that's what I'm saying, is that while we're starting to see inroads to, true app-like experiences, we're not quite there yet. My question is, if we agree that that's the case, that it's better to have the individual app, Bruce, is at some point Google going to step up and do that? Or are they actually going to allow you to make the purchases from Google Now so that you could buy the movie tickets or make dinner reservations?
But here's my Google Now right now, right? It says Android Journal's going on. Here's the Giants game. If I click on it, boom, it's going to tell me what's going on right now in the Giants game. If I go back, here's the weather and Game of Thrones. It's all kind of getting there for me, anyways. And I don't even use it that often. So if someone was feeding it a lot more cards and a lot more information, I think it's probably more helpful.
Depends on how much time you want to spend. If you want to see weather radar, then you're going to want to go to WeatherBug or Weather Channel. But if you just need something quick, hey, what's the temperature? What's the weather going to be like tomorrow? Then the Google Now works really great. So
exactly the point I was going to make, Bruce. Google Now still, I think its strong point is that it's information at a glance. If you really want more in depth, I think I'm going to still be choosing some of the apps that I use over the Google headline. I still Pulse News is still one of my favorite Android apps. I still choose it over Flipboard. And if I really want a lot of news and information, Google, they provide me some of that through Google Now, but I still prefer browsing each morning the information that I find in Pulse News. Eddie Allard says here, wait till they put Google with personality chips integrated in those new drone robots. And Eddie, we miss you in the daily Tech and Coffee hangout, man. Come see us again sometime soon, buddy.
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right, man. I think, like I say, I think we've talked about this one all we can. I think, Jeff, that Google Now is definitely making or has the ability to eventually make third-party apps such as movie times and travel information, that sort of thing, less relevant. But I don't think it's there yet. I think we have a ways to go. Would you not agree with that?
Oh, yes, but, it's got to be putting pressure on some apps, some of the older apps and things like that. Yeah. I went through my tablet and got rid of a lot of stuff that I don't use anymore.
Fair enough. All right, hey, listen, another discussion topic, guys, and I'm just going to kick this off with a question. Hey, Bruce, who shouldn't buy a Chromebook?
People that need access to certain Windows programs like Cisco VPN AnyConnect, Cisco IP Communicator, people who are studying web design in college, video editing, serious audio editing, those types of things. But it's just, so I would just answer that question that way. And I've got a good illustration. I had one of the guys at the home office. He just got accepted into seminary, and he works for our healthcare company. And he was asking for my recommendation of a desktop or a laptop or a tablet. And for him, a person going to seminary who's just going to be having to type papers and do some study and research, Chromebook would be perfect for him and a very inexpensive investment for him. So.
All right. Hey, Jeff. Who shouldn't buy a Chromebook?
Okay, I think if you're, and I'm going to totally agree with Bruce, if you're doing any kind of video streaming, video editing, high-end spreadsheets, Windows-specific programs, I'm just diddling everything Bruce has said. Also, I think, as you can tell, I'm on a desktop. My video is, probably looking pretty good. My processor, I can have several windows open. I can do a lot of things. So if you're a power user in some sort, a Chromebook is not for you. If you want to have several programs opened and doing some things, real work, not just typing and updating one spreadsheet at one time. I think a desktop is still by far business-oriented workforce kind of deal.
Hey, Robert.
Mm-hmm.
Your opinion?
I think the person who should not buy a Chromebook is the person who thinks that a Chromebook is a be-all, do-all, end-all computer. It's not. It is a traveling companion device. Not necessarily a companion to you, that's not what I mean, but a companion to your full-fledged desktop, your full-fledged, all-out laptop. Let's face it, when we're traveling, most of us, Bruce is the accepted company here, what do we need to do? We want to be able to browse easily, we want to get to our email and respond easily, that type of thing. We don't need a full desktop experience, but to take a Chromebook and say that I can do everything I can do on a desktop or a full-blown laptop or MacBook is a mistake to think that. Do not go down that road. You have no business going down that road. If that is the circumstance, if you want a laptop that's going to give you full-blown experience, then buy a laptop. You'll spend considerably more, but don't waste your money. Don't waste $200 buying a Chromebook thinking you're going to be able to do everything. You can't.
I know that, and for people who don't know, Tech and Coffee is a community that started almost as soon as Google started offering the Google Hangouts, and we all hang out together. We become friends. We know one another. And, it can be very expensive to hang out in Tech and Coffee because normally what happens is somebody buys something, and that kind of motivates the rest of the room to buy the same thing.
Wait, hang out. Hang on. I just got to interrupt. Jeff?
Yes, Brady?
What happened?
We both bought the same something today.
Yes, from Amazon, Bluetooth receivers, different application, but same item, right?
Yeah.
And by the way, that is not only infectious inside of Tech and Coffee, but people who hear about it, my best friend who happened to call right as I was getting ready to pay for your order, pick me up one of those too.
Yeah. This is the worst thing you can hear in a Hangout. Oh, let me put this in the chat. Let me put this link in the chat. And it goes to Fast Tech or it goes to Amazon or whatever, and all of a sudden it's a flurry of do I really want this? Do I really need it? Should I have this?
Tanya Bolas says, I love my Chromebook because I go camping a lot, and I used it to have a Mac. I used to have a Mac, and it was too big and heavy. I love my Chromebook. And I think, in all fairness, what I was going to say is, guys, we kind of we like tech and we like to play with it. And I love my Chromebook. Bruce, I know you love your Chromebook. Jeff, you've used yours quite a bit. But you know what? The truth of the matter is, guys, is right now, this very moment, we're doing this from our desktop machines. We are actually right here live on air right now from our desktop machines. Don't get me wrong. I love my Chromebook. I love traveling with it. It makes so much sense. It's just so lightweight. 11.6 inch is just the perfect form factor as far as I'm concerned. I think it's a great device, and I would encourage people, just like Bruce said, I would encourage people to buy it if I truly think that that's the type of machine they need.
Yeah.
But
I will be making my next week's business trip totally Chromebook It's so nice in the airport to pull this thing and open it up and have instant access to doing stuff. I will be driving this desktop. I think Robert's illustration analogy is perfect. It's a companion device. I will drive the desktop that I'm streaming with right now. I will drive from Melbourne, Florida, this quad-core high-powered desktop using Chrome Remote Desktop, and I'll have my Chromebook into a nice big 23-inch Samsung monitor. I can extend my screens to that. I will do just fine. For the average person, and again, I think this is really great for students. That's why Chromebooks are taking the educational market by storm. My daughter, going to be a 9th grader at Heritage High School. Every 9th grader at Heritage High School and E.C. Glass High School in Lynchburg, Virginia, is getting a Chromebook day one when they start 9th grade.
That's wonderful.
Yep.
Yeah. And if they had Chromebooks before for my mom, I would have got her a Chromebook instead of a PC, because it would have saved me so much aggravation you wouldn't believe, because she has so much stuff that she put on her PC that I have to periodically go there and clean it out. And, and then she, the Chrome just updates automatically. It's great.
Mm-hmm.
All right, I'll tell you what, guys. Before we move into our apps,
just one more quick thing on the Chromebooks. Chromebooks are going to 9 new countries coming right up. 9 new countries getting Chromebooks. The Chromebook revolution is spreading.
And don't get me wrong, I think they make a lot of sense. I think, especially as a second machine, guys. If you've got your powerhouse that you're doing everything else, but wish you had something more portable, look at a Chromebook, because just like Bruce was talking about, there's things you can do to access your main machine, like remote access. There's like I say, they're more versatile than what a lot of people think, and they're not necessarily workarounds either to make things happen. Hey guys, real quick before we move into our apps, I got this note from Raymond and Glotta. And Raymond, basically, he first of all, he says that Android Journal is one of his favorite podcasts. Thank you very much, Raymond. I truly appreciate that. I'm sure the rest of the panel does also. But he had asked that we comment on, first of all, Moto Maker Plant and the Moto X Future. Robert, go. What do you think about the Moto Maker Plant? Sounds like they're going to shut it down, pull the plug on it, and the future of the Moto X flagship phone.
People put covers on their phone when they want to customize. The Moto Maker plan is dead.
Okay.
I think the Moto X is starting to be a step behind at this point now.
All right. Samsung Chromebooks and Asus Chromebooks. Bruce?
Oh, man. It remains to be seen. I really like. I've had the Samsung. I've got the Acer right now. As far as Asus, I'm excited about what's on the agenda. I mean, I've been reading some reviews, as I'm sure you have, on the new Samsung, second generation that's come out, and they're measuring this Exynos 5 processor, and some of the benchmarks look pretty good on it. So I think there's going to be a great future for several companies in Chromebooks.
Yeah, and I just want to add that I think right now, Raymond, I prefer the Haswell chip processors versus the Exynos processors. Yeah. I think there's an advantage there if you want to do some Linux stuff with that versus the Samsung, but I think they're both very good processors. I think they battery life is not bad in either, and I think it's more or less just it might come down to aesthetics and what you like better. All right, and finally the LG G3. Jeff, you got any opinions on LG's new flagship phone?
I'm looking at the specs right now on it, and it looks very impressive, to tell you the truth. I mean, it is. I'm just looking at it here. It supports 2G, 3G, 4G. It has SIM cards. Its display is IPS, HP, Corning glass, protected. KitKat on it. It's quad-core processor. It looks quite tasty, actually. I mean, I don't know what the price is on them, and it looks like it has a 3,000 milliamp battery too, so it's got to be great.
Raymond, I just want to add, it's got probably the best display available in a smartphone right now. It's truly an HD display, and one thing that really concerned me when I heard about this just incredible display was that, well, it's going to kill battery life. But I actually read an article this morning that is disputing that. Battery life on this device is excellent in spite of that display. So I think LG's got a winner. And, listen, I think the G2 was a great device. So,
I just had my hands on the G2. I was going to say the G2 was a phenomenal phone. My best friend got one. The display was incredible. Super smooth, very bright, sharp imagery on it. It was very nice. The G3 can only be a step up, from that.
Absolutely. So there you go, Raymond. I hope we answered your questions there. And, drop us some more if something you're curious about. Hey, you know what they say about opinions? Everybody's got one. So
and everybody loves Raymond.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, man. Hey, Bruce, what kind of app you got for us this week, brother?
Okay, I've just I like the Nova Launcher. I learned about Nova Launcher by Glenn, I believe it was, in the Tech and Coffee Hangout. It's a great app, but they have an update now. I've got my home screen up. I just turned it on, swiped, so it's unlocked. But now all I have to do is say, "Okay, Google, how's the weather in Lynchburg?"
It's 84 degrees and clear in Lynchburg.
So instead of having to type the microphone or go to the search page and say it, all I have to do is be at the home screen and I can say, "Okay, Google." Now, it's not as good as Robert's, but it works good.
And look at that. You didn't use the WeatherBug app at all.
I know. Yeah.
Very good, very good. So that's the new Nova Launcher just updated today to include a Google Now. Thank you very much, Bruce. Appreciate that. Jeff, what's your app, man?
All right. Well, first of all, let me bring this up real quick. Because I have a desktop, I can do this. Mine is the Dolphin browser. And why am I talking about the Dolphin browser is because of I got tired of XBMC Android on my tablet. I could never get certain things to work, and I kept on trying it. I wanted to watch Amazon Prime, and I just couldn't do it. So I did a quick little Google search on how can you watch Amazon Prime on an Android tablet, and there's only one way to do it, and that is through a browser. And I used the Dolphin browser here with installing Flash. So you have to go to the Adobe website, look for the Flash for KitKat, and download it and put it on your system as well. So I go into into the Dolphin browser. Two things you need to do. You swipe to the right. You need to put it into desktop mode when you go into Amazon Prime. Number two is down here there's a little Dolphin. You click on that and you go to settings. And if I can get up settings here. Make sure that you turn on the Dolphin Jetpack, and then under web content, enable JavaScript, and you're basically set to go. So now, of course, there it goes. You get this little icon. At first, when it first comes up, it'll say, do you want to use Silverlight or do you want to use Flash? And once you say you want to use Flash, Amazon Instant Video now works on your Android tablet via the browser. So all you have to do is just do it once. Enable the Flash, and it's loading. It will play eventually.
Well, I believe you.
I believe me too. So,
yeah,
what the heck?
Very good. Very good. So that is the Dolphin browser.
Dolphin browser. Or you can try the Firefox too. That supports Flash as well. But yeah, it works.
Very good. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, Rob.
I'm going to pass for tonight. We're running a little pressed for time, so why don't you go, Duke?
All right. My app, guys, is iTriage. And first of all, just let me tell you, I started to do this app just before we went to our hurl, and I had just gotten it. I wanted to play with it a little more. And I got to tell you, I'm very, very impressed with this app. This is similar to a WebMD app. It was developed by 2 emergency room doctors, and it's in the Play Store. It's been downloaded, or it's got 71,132 reviews, 4 1/3 stars, okay? This thing has been recommended on Google over 46,000 times. Now, just to kind of show you a little bit about it, when you launch the app, this is what it looks like. And I'm just going to walk you through, okay, I've got some symptoms, okay? So what I'm going to do here, I'll click on the symptoms and I get this anatomy. And so maybe I have chest pains. So I'm going to click the chest area here. And it says, okay, well, you know, here's what's common. You got chest pain, you got chest tightness, heaviness, you got a cough, you got a bleeding cough. Well, maybe I've got a bleeding cough. I'll click that, and okay, it could be bronchial-related bronchitis, or it could be lung cancer tumor. Guys, I knew it. I've got lung cancer. This is probably the last Android Journal show I'm going to be able to do. But you can add this now. You can find medical help. It's based upon your location. You can find hospitals and healthcare centers close to you. It will automatically, once you pick it, it will map it and take you into Google Maps to be able to navigate you to the place. Another thing listen, it does a whole lot more than this, and I promise you I can spend 30 minutes talking about this app. But real quick, I'm going to show you one more thing. You got medication. Well, if you want to know what medication you've got, by the way, let's try this right here. I've hit the microphone. Metformin. Oops, let's try that again. Just a second. Metformin. And there, it found it. So I'll click on Metformin. I can add it now to my list of medications. I can get it. It will contact a pharmacy for me to get it. But it'll also tell you, and this is what I like about it, when the doctor prescribes me different medications, I can use this app now to see, you know, what's this for? What is it? What's it used for? And it gives me a full description of what this particular drug is used for. Okay, it's a very, very handy app, a very complete app, and that's my app for this week, guys. iTriage.
I like that.
Man, it really is a great app, you know, and I was kind of wondering, and I noticed you were using the Tech and Coffee pen with the little stylus tip on it, but I was wondering where you were going to poke on that anatomy, and if you poke somewhere around the groin, then the symptoms might have been your thong is too tight.
Yeah, a little rash, thong rash.
All right. Hey, guys, real quick here before I slide out, hey guys, we are Tech and Coffee's Android Journal. We're a weekly podcast where we get together every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. and talk about one of our favorite operating systems in the whole wide world, and that's the Android OS. You can find Tech and Coffee on Twitter and Facebook at Tech and Coffee One. Our YouTube channel is simply Tech and Coffee. Our favorite social network is Google+. You can catch our podcasts on Stitcher Radio and iTunes. If you've got questions, comments, just anything, just something on your mind, Android related, drop us a note. AJ at techandcoffee.info. Guys, have a great rest of the week. We're going to catch you in 7. Peace out, gang.